Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook on at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video. Hello, this is the Green Corn Rebellion Show. I'm Gregory Harden II, and today I'm here with Mico Hunter. She is my good friend and comedian from Scotland over in the UK. How are you doing today?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
You need to remind me if I go too fast and my
Okay,
accent gets out of control for you.
all right. Okay. So, first question I have here is where are you from and where did you grow up at? Could you tell me a little bit about your childhood?
Sure. I'm from the same, I've always been here. I've never moved away. Um, I'm right in between Glasgow and Edinburgh in a place called Falkirk. So it's basically equidistant to Glasgow and Edinburgh, which is really handy, but also kind of nothing much going on at the same time. I moved like 5 streets away from my mum. Yeah, didn't think that one through. Love you, mum. Um, but yeah, I haven't really left. I've been, I go to Glasgow and Edinburgh a lot. I think that's probably why I haven't left, is because we're so close to the cities here. It's quite nice. Childhood wise, oof, ah, not really much to. I mean, not really much to it. Child of divorce, back and forth between houses. Bit of a tomboy, bit of a carry on, just having a carry on all the time. Too much head in the clouds, not enough seriousness for my whole childhood probably.
All right, cool. And along with being a comedian and a YouTuber, what else do you do slash have you done in your life?
I used to work in well, I started working in retail in like shops, shoe shops and things. And then I was a travel agent for a while. I loved that, but it got really heavy into like selling things, and I was more just about like the places and talking to people about the places. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll leave and I'll go and work for a bank, and that'll be better. And long story short, it wasn't. It was exactly the same. So um, I got ill shortly, and probably about a couple of years into working for the bank. I got really ill with a sort of pain disorder, and I went down to part time, and then I just couldn't give them what they wanted from me. And working 9 till 5 is quite a difficult thing for me to do. So I thought I'll go to uni, and I'll try that. And I can, if I'm up in the middle of the night, I can work in the middle of the night. And I did uni and worked a few jobs during uni as well, and then burnt myself out completely. And I'm still trying to get back from that just now. So I do a bit of editing, some voluntarily, some paid. But most of the YouTube thing is just because I have so much time on my hands and so little things that I can do in the house. So it's a bit of creativity and it's something to do.
What did you get your degree in at uni?
I did my degree in English and philosophy. Can't really remember as much about philosophy as I should. Skated my way through that bit of it. And then I went on to do creative writing. Like I did the masters in the creative writing, which was great fun. But kind of like put me off writing for a bit because I was like, oh, I'm not good enough to do this. And then it took me a while to get back from going, no, you don't have to go to uni to be good at stuff like this, you know. So I have some regrets about that, but at the same time, I did learn a lot from it. So I'm quite happy I did it, really. Yeah.
That's cool. So what got you into doing comedy?
Well, the good thing about comedy is a lot of the work is just done on your own time. So I can write whenever, I can make up skits whenever, I can do it on my own time. Stand up, I had a go at because what I initially wanted to do was write in sitcom. And I seen how long it took for well known people to get their sitcoms made. And I thought, yeah, this isn't, you know, this is going to take you a long time and it might not reap any results. So I thought I'll try stand up. And as much as I enjoyed it, I just wasn't physically able to maintain that. There's a big sort of mentality in stand-up comedy in this area that if you're not doing it all the time, you're just taking up space. You know, you're just getting in the road of the real people. And that was the vibe I was getting a lot of the time, was that I wasn't able to do it quite as much as they needed me to do it. So that's why I thought I'll just take my comedy to YouTube, really, because then it's on my time, and if people want to watch it, they can watch it. If you know, if they don't, kind of thing. But I'd like to put a lot of effort into the YouTube videos, like, but I don't always get the chance to put as much effort in as I want to. So I don't stick to an upload schedule or anything like that. That's too stressful. Just
Mm-hmm.
it hampers my creativity trying to stick to an upload schedule. So I just upload when I've got an idea or when I can, which has been not at all during the pandemic. I just, since this all happened, I've just been far too anxious to think. So I probably need to get my creative mind flowing again.
Yeah, I remember earlier this year. Can't remember when it was. So it was earlier this year. You had a video where you made fun of the nurses on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh God. I was like, to be fair, it was the bad nurses, the ones that were being particularly nasty or rude, but at the same time, probably wasn't the best time to start taking the nurses. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like this is a bad look. But I did put some good ones, you know, good nurses and doctors and things in there as well. But yeah, I was like, if anybody just looks at the title of that and then I show up in hospital somewhere, they're gonna be like, this is her. Just don't treat her. But yeah, that was one of my best videos actually. I think it was just because anything with TikTok in the title, people want to see what's going on, and I was a bit late to the party getting that video out, but it did okay actually. It was probably my best video. Probably not the best one to be the best one, but what can you do?
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty funny because I think what was it? It was January or February whenever you put it out, right?
Really bad concepts of time, especially now. But I think so. Yeah, it was definitely. It was just. I took a break after I did like 2 weeks or like a week and a half straight uploading at Christmas, and then I think that was the first video I came back with. Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
probably like that's one of the hardest I've worked on a video. So I was quite pleased it did well because I worked hard on it. And I put a couple of people in there because it was a bit of a roast. So I was like roasting them. I put a couple of people in there that really didn't deserve it, but they were funny.
Hmm.
So I tried to put like some, you know, little messages over saying this is just a bit of a laugh, but I messed the titles up. So it came up at all different times. So I had to put in the comments so as not to offend. Everybody in there wasn't as fair game as the likes of Nurse Holly and all that carry on, you know. They were the ones I was really going after. But comedy's comedy, you just got to build it up a bit sometimes.
Hmm. Yeah, and I liked that. I think most of them were, if not all of them, were American nurses too.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. That wasn't deliberate either because I just was putting in, because I didn't have a TikTok account before this and I didn't know that you could just look at the videos without getting an account. So I got one because, like, new social media confuses me. I still can't work Pinterest. It's really bad. Every time I try to use it, I can't work it. So I was like really looking through and I just wasn't coming across. I think I had maybe one or two that were dancing that were maybe British, but there was like no talking. And I took a few of them out as well because I felt bad for making fun of them for just having a dance. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's fine. You have a dance when you're quiet, go ahead, it's fine. But yeah, they were mostly American. Yeah, that's a fair comment. Or maybe Canadian, you know, I don't know.
Um, so, so you're from the UK, more specifically Scotland,
Yeah.
and y'all just had an election at the end of 2019, which feels like 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're also someone who's on the left. What was the outcome you were hoping for in that election?
It's not only hoping for, but I think I was a bit naive in expecting it, was that it would be close, but the left somewhere along the way would win out. And I was just utterly astounded by it. Not really, the expectation from certain areas is you'll always have a Tory area, that there's nothing you can do about it. But when literal working class areas and you were looking at the numbers and it was mostly Tory, it was really upsetting because you just can't think why anybody would do that. But in saying that, I've made my own mistakes when it came to voting, but never has it been to vote for Tories. So it was difficult. It was hard to take, especially as in Scotland we never vote the Tories in. It wasn't us. So like if you separate the countries out, we're like, we didn't vote for this. This isn't what we asked for, but we still have to take it, kind of thing. So that's even worse, really.
Yeah. So, like, were you hoping for like a Labor S&P coalition type thing?
I mean, this is where things get confusing to me as soon as it starts involving how many seats there are and what the numbers are. And I've never ever got like, as even when I wasn't politically minded, and then I've got politically minded, I still struggle with it, even more so now because I have a lot of brain fog. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think something like that would have been what I would. Yeah, I would have loved that. I mean, I would really like to just be in charge now of our own sort of deal. And I wasn't paying an awful lot of attention to the whole Labour thing. Like I was paying attention to Labour, but I wasn't paying attention to a lot of the stuff that was going on in the background because, once again, this is terrible because I was going, well, I'm voting for SNP, so like it's not something I have to be too aware of. As long as I know what I'm doing with this, then I can sort of ignore that. And I think that was a bit of a mistake as well because that's what led me to the sort of naive state of affairs I was in.
All right. So, and you had voted Labor in the past, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, how did you feel about the party's leadership under Corbyn, and how do you feel about it under Keir Starmer now? But more specifically, how did you feel about Corbyn first?
Corbyn's politics are probably, I mean, I've always been left, but Corbyn's politics is probably what took me further left, like probably close to Bernie Sanders in the sense that this guy just wants everybody to have everything equally, and that's like what I wanted. As for what was going on in the background of the party, it didn't pay enough attention, and that was what I think, like I say, ended up in a state of naivety. But him himself, as a person in the politics that he has, were just perfect for me, really. It's a shame what happened, but like I say, without knowing the complete background to it, I think there was a lot of claims of like problems within the party as well. But in comparison, like Keir Stammer just seems to me like not left. I don't know. It's really hard to say. Like in the papers, if you read the papers, he sounds left. But if you
Yeah.
actually look into what he's saying and what he does and what his actions are, it doesn't sound particularly left. Really, it's weird. It's more centrist.
Oh yeah, especially with what is it? What he said about Black Lives
Oh,
Matter
oh,
recently.
yeah, that was. Oh.
Like that
That's what I
was
was
the
trying to explain to my
most.
mum because my mum came over and she was like, "Oh, I think he's really nice," and I was like, "Yeah, because you read the tabloid papers, which like that's just a generational thing." And when I was actually telling her these things, she was like, "Oh, I was like, well, they're not going to put that, in the kind of papers you read. They're not going to
Mhm.
tell you the things he's doing wrong." But I just don't know how you can be that tone deaf. Like,
Right?
how else did he think making a statement like that was going to go? Like, I mean, to just straight out go, I don't agree with defunding the police when people are literally giving you like valid reasons as to why it needs done, and video evidence, not just in America, we have enough video evidence going around that we can't stop and say it's no problem in our country, blah, blah, blah. That's nonsense. There is. It's, so to just make a comment like that straight off the bat without even listening to anyone or their reasons or I think they just hear defund and think, and think, oh, we're looking to just abolish them. And that, that's fine, because I don't know, it might be turning into an abolitionist anyway. But they don't seem to think through that all we're really asking for is that the people that come out are for the necessary things. Like, police shouldn't be doing wellness checks in any country. They're not trained for it. And most of the times they just make it worse, or they just don't stay at all in circumstances that I've had here with an elderly neighbour, where they just came to the door and went, you'll have to deal with that, and left. Whereas if we had people in place, social workers in place, or like crisis workers in place that could come out and help that situation, that she wouldn't have had to be in distress. I wouldn't have had to like worry about her, and I don't know where they went, probably just disappeared. So stuff like that just annoys me. Like when you just straight away discount somebody's feelings or like opinions without even saying, right, let's have a discussion about it.
Yeah. So who? Okay, there it is. Okay, now when it comes to Scotland, y'all have the SNP under the leadership of Nicola Sturgeon. How do you feel about the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon and the possibility of Scottish independence?
I really admire Nicola. I think she's doing a good job, in my opinion. No politician will ever do a perfect job, in my opinion. They won't, they just can't. But I think in comparison to what's going on in closer countries to us, mainly England, because let's face it, Wales and Ireland are kind of doing the same thing as us with the likes of COVID. She just seems more in control and less willing to blame people around her for her own mistakes. Like you've got Boris Johnson coming out today and blaming care homes for not dealing properly with COVID, when the reality is care homes were begging for PPE and information and couldn't get it. So I don't see that in her, that she will look to blame others around her when she herself has made the mistake. I do have some concerns with the part, like with any party, like I feel like they could give us a bit more information and be a bit more transparent. But I think it's the best that we've got, really. Independence wise, I am all for it. Yeah, it's something that I've wrestled with in the past and have made mistakes on in the past as well. Because when the first independence vote was around, I was not politically engaged whatsoever. And in all honesty, I didn't think I was smart enough to be politically engaged. And I'd probably thought that way for a long time. Like, I'm just not smart enough. I'll just make the wrong decision, so I'll just listen to everyone around me. And that's what me and my husband did. We sort of just took on board everything around us. And unfortunately, most of the people around us were unionists. And it was fear. It was just pure fear. It was just like, we were getting fed so many lies, and people were trying to tell us that that we were wrong, but a lot of the time, a lot of the people telling you that would be incredibly aggressive about it. So the whole country was just like fighting all the time. Like, that's all I remember from that year. It was a bit like everybody was just arguing with each other all the time. Even when you were in agreement, they were finding things to argue about, and it just got so toxic that I was just like, I'm not smart enough to get this. And it's a very big regret. It's a very big regret. And I'm sure that many other people I've spoken to that the same thing happened to have said the same thing. It's a big regret. Because one of my main reasons for staying in the union was I wanted to remain part of the EU. And we all know how that went.
Yeah.
So, yeah, idiot. Feel like an idiot about it, but can't change anything now. Just have to be more politically engaged going forward, really. But yes, I'm all for it now.
That's cool. So who were some of your favorite MPs and councillors, whether they be Labour or SNP?
One thing that put me off politics for a long time is that I have a lot of trouble with authority and trusting politicians in general. But there is one called Mary Black, and she is just, she's not my constituency, she's not, I'm not part of her constituency, unfortunately, tragically, but she's just great. You know, like she gets her political points across without having to like do anything with her personality. She's just herself. And because I feel like she's working class and because she's LGBTQ, she can give perspectives on different situations that other people can't. And she's just so unwilling to change herself. Like, you would think being the sort of working class and being like just letting your personality come across, you go into these groups and that kind of gets beat out of you. You can't act like that. You've got to act like this. And she just hadn't let that happen. And I think that makes me trust her more because she's just being her, but she's also saying all the things that I tend to agree with. So probably I've only got one probably, and that's because I'm very cynical. It's bad. It's not a good look. I'm so cynical.
That's cool. And how do you feel about the coronavirus and how it's being handled by the Tories? Have the Scottish government been doing anything different from the national government? I'm not sure how devolution of the different governments works in the UK.
Yeah, I don't think they've got the time in their hands to be arguing with us just now. So I think we're getting away with it. But basically, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, not completely, but roughly falling in line with the same regulations and things that we need to be doing, all still behind England, you know. I think we are talking about opening up, we open up hairdressers and pubs and things at some point next week, I think, is the hairdressers. But from the pubs, it's just so stupid. Because when I looked at Boris Johnson opening the pubs and just being like, it's your duty to get out there and keep them alive, sort of thing. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then within 2 days, they were like, yeah, we have to shut the pubs because these drunk people can't socially distance. And it's like, well, we could have told you that. And the thing is, I wanted initially to go, look at this bunch of idiots. Look at this bunch of idiots doing this and doing that. And I hope I would have been better in my 20s or whatever. I hope I wouldn't. But I don't know if I would have because 20-year-olds, most 20-year-olds, Greg, not you, they just want to have a laugh and have fun and they think they're invincible. And I did, I think, at 20. So there wasn't a global pandemic to sort of test that against at the time. But I think if the government wasn't like, yeah, go out and do this, then people you wouldn't think it was okay to go out and do. And there's people like me who, from the start, have just paid attention to mainly the scientists and like doctors and things like that, instead of the media has a sort of more wide-ranging view on it, like a lot of other people, and are just like, I'm not going out. Like, I'm too scared to go out. But I understand. I just feel like if they really wanted to, they could support the economy and protect everyone. They just don't want to. It feels like free genocide to
Yeah.
them, you know.
Yeah,
Scary.
it's kind of like how it is here in America, where they opened things up a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Your
And
states are all different as well, aren't they? I mean, it's really your state governors and things that kind of have control of that, isn't it?
yeah, but like, that was who started opening things up for the
Yeah.
states. My state specifically, like we were only closed. We were only in lockdown for like maybe a little less than a month before they
Oh,
decided to open everything up. And then
jeez.
other states, like, they were closed until maybe sometime in June. But like the earliest states, like Florida and Oklahoma and Texas, they start opening up in May.
Yeah, Florida is like me and my husband are big Halloween Horror Nights fans,
Hmm.
and LA is just too long a flight. So we have been to Orlando a few times. We're actually supposed to go this September for our 10th wedding anniversary and the 30th Halloween Horror Nights. And as soon as I started, I was like, we're not going. So we just cancelled it. But now I'm just looking like I did not realize this state was like these people. arguing about not wearing the masks and things. And I,
Yes.
if that's like, it's hitting us over here, and I'm like, there's a woman saying about her underwear and stuff in the middle of like a televised. Oh, I just couldn't understand it. And then what's really been annoying me as a theme park fan is that those parks have opened up far too early, and the
Yeah.
staff are already underpaid on minimum wage, work there because they love it, not because they're doing it for the money. And you're just putting them at risk. And I think I heard that Universal Studios ended up laying people off. And I'm just like, you're billion-dollar corporations. Like
Yeah.
Disney is a $133 billion corporation. And it was bad enough that before the pandemic that they were only getting minimum wage. And now, what are we doing? It's crazy. And so I just kind of, it's put me off the whole thing, to be honest. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can go back and put money in the pockets of people who just like put riding a roller coaster over somebody's life. It's crazy.
Yeah. So are you guys not having the mask debate in the UK at all?
Well, funny you should say that because I took the dog a walk today past like a grocery store, and two people came out with no masks on, and I was
Hmm.
like, well, I won't be going in there for a start, right? That's fine. And then so I said to my mum, I saw two people come out the shop without masks on. And she said she'd been to the like an actual full supermarket the day before, and half the people there weren't wearing masks. But what I thought was that it came in on Monday that it had to be done, but now I think it's Friday, which is a bit shady because like, what benefit is it to wait an extra week to make it mandatory to wear them? But I think we will have problems, yeah, because there is people denying it. Like you'll walk out with the dog and somebody will let the dog come right, and you're like, well, just back a bit, and they're like, oh, load of nonsense, load of nonsense. If you get it, you get it. That's a big thing people are saying here. If you get it, you get it. Not seeming to understand that asymptomatic people can spread it to hundreds of people in a short amount of time and put like vulnerable people at risk. So I think we probably will have that when if it's enforced as well, because it's whether they're going, even if they make it mandatory, it's whether these shops will enforce it. You
Yeah.
know, it's so difficult. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll have quite as many like that Costco guy today in Florida. I don't know if you've seen that one, but Jesus,
Yeah.
that's terrifying. Like he's like, I feel threatened while threatening someone. It just doesn't make any sense. But I'm
Yeah.
loving Twitter can find these people in a matter of minutes, and then they're like, they used to work for us, but they don't anymore. And I'm like, yeah, because you shouldn't be able to treat people like that because they want basic safety. You know, it's just wear the mask.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Like, oh my.
What do they think surgeons do for like 12 hours,
I
when they're
know,
doing heart
right?
surgery? Like they just passing out all over the place when they're trying to do heart surgery. I don't think so. They're coping just fine. It's like if my mum hates it and she'll wear it everywhere. And she never stops moaning about it. She's like, I don't like it. It stifles me. But she's never not wore it. She's always wore it. So you can wear it and have a moan about it. That's fine. Just wear it.
Wear it, yes. Yeah, like and you were talking about how like some people are acting as if like it's not a big deal if you get it, you get it. Like you guys at least have the NHS where
Mm-hmm.
you guys can go to the hospital. Here
Mm-hmm.
in America, like
Yeah, I
we have
hadn't thought
we
about that actually.
yeah, like here in
God.
America, if in some places, if you get it, you have to drive. Like in my state, we've had several rural hospitals closed in the last decade. So in some of the rural areas, if you get it and you get like really sick,
Right.
you have to drive like an hour or two to get to a hospital. And then on top of that, you might not have insurance, therefore you're going to be
That's
stuck with a
terrifying.
bill afterwards. Like it's a pretty big deal that
Yeah, I can see why people like in America are so like wear your damn mask and calling people out because but yeah, it's life or death if you're rural as well, I'd imagine. Like getting somebody 100 miles when they're really sick is not it's not
yeah.
always an easy thing to do. So yeah, I always know about your healthcare, but I forget to consider it in things like, we'll watch a skateboarding video and halfway through it I'll be like, I hope this guy's got health insurance, like doing all the flips and like it's such a weird thing to consider. And we're so lucky here that we have it. That
Hmm.
we, some of us take it for granted. They're not always because they're underfunded, really. It's not the staff, any of the staff or any of their sort of faults, because they're underfunded. People slip through the cracks and things, and we still have problems. But nobody is going to be able to be like, I can't afford to go to the hospital, which is
Yeah.
absolutely, because when you have that situation, it's basically there's no way it can't be a class thing. You can either afford to pay for it or you can't.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know why so many people vote against Medicare for all. It's weird.
Yeah. Don't even get me started about
I
that.
know, I know. Well, I think it's obviously the people that have got the means, that are like, well, it doesn't affect me. I can afford to go whatever happens.
Hmm.
It's like rich people, like how they always miss flights. It's because they know they can afford another one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you kind of like, they don't care. It doesn't affect them, and
Hmm.
that's sad. It's really sad, but
Yeah, like in here in America, we have this thing where if you have a job, you get health care through your employer. And the big deal during the primary was Medicare for All would get rid of your employer insurance, which is like, okay, cool. So your healthcare isn't tied to having a job or not.
yeah,
That's great. But people wanted to use that as like an attack against
that's a weird
Medicare for
thing.
All.
Mhm.
And then I remember like in March, whenever people started getting laid off, we had like millions of people getting laid off. I was like, remember whenever y'all were saying to me that this is going to be a problem when Bernie wants to get rid of your employer health care? Look at here we are now. Everyone's losing their job and their health care, and we have a pandemic. I
Yeah.
want the apologies, and some people did apologize to me for
So,
that.
well, you
They were
got
like,
some.
"Yeah, I'm sorry for saying that was probably a bad thing."
Yeah, it's just weird to me. I suppose
Yeah,
some people just won't care till it directly affects them. Really,
yeah,
it's just the
like
bottom line and everything.
yeah. Um, the last question I have here is what kind of music do you listen to?
Okay, I'm a total weirdo in the sense that I listen to music, but I most of the time couldn't tell you who or what the name of the song is. I just know I like it. I like a lot of classic rock, without really knowing half the time who's singing it. I just put a classic rock playlist on. But I also like putting instrumental video game music on because I can't focus on things if there's words in a song. It's so strange. I don't know if it's just a brain fog thing recently, but I can't, if something's got words in it and I'm trying to like write or trying to do something, I cannot focus. So I'll put like the Skyrim soundtrack on. Most of the time, I'll just put sitcoms on in the background and let them just play through the whole season. So I'm really weird that way. My husband's big into his music. He is a big gig fan. Like he's missing the gigs with COVID, but he's usually at like maybe 2 gigs a month. But I don't tend to go. I'll let him go to Slipknot on his own because I was just terrified. Not of the band. I really enjoy it. Actually, it looked like an amazing stage show. It's the crowd that looked terrifying. So I was like, yeah, you can do that one. But I like a lot of classic rock and a bit of like instrumental weird music.
Did you see my tweet earlier today about Back in Black by AC/DC
I
when I
did.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, did you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
I'm
tend
not
to be
really,
like, okay, come on, let's get on to the next one then.
yeah,
I can't.
like I've never really been a fan of AC/DC at all, but like that one song I'm like, okay, it's cool for like a minute and a half, but
Yeah.
after that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to hear this
If it's on in
anymore.
the car, I'm always like trying, I'll either avoid it or trying to like fast forward through a bit of it. But like I've got a really old car and that doesn't work properly, so I just usually skip. But I think ACDC, I'm just one of the people that likes the hits, like this, if you're out or something and it comes on, you're like, oh, I love this song. I'm that kind of music lover, the annoying one that everybody hates because I don't know what's going on. I just know I like it. Like that's that tends to be how I go with music. I do like Sia though. I only recently discovered her, and I really enjoy Sia, her music anyway. Don't know her as a person or anything, but
Yeah, she's great. What was it? She had the song Bulletproof like a few
yeah.
years ago. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, I just love that one with Shia LaBeouf in the video. See what I mean? I don't even know what they're called.
I don't even know what that was.
It's just really good. I don't know, it's a really good song, and but the trouble is, it's like one of those really emotional songs that if you're not in the right mood, you can't listen to it. I do that with a lot of music, so got to be in the right mood for the right music.
All right, well, that's all I have here. Thank you for coming on. Where can we find you on social media, and what's your YouTube channel?
Well, thank you for having me. It's been lovely. I'm on Twitter. I'm a bit angrier on Twitter than I've came across here. And a bit carry on Mico. And my YouTube channel is Carry On Chronically. And it's basically based around, because I have a chronic illness and chronic pain condition, so it's basically based around that and some other things that I just feel like making sometimes. And comedy. Got to do everything with a smile on your face. So
All right, cool. Well, thanks.
thank you, Gregory.